Alright, Shalom. I want to start off by giving all praise, honor, and glory to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Achakwadash. Double honors to the apostles, the elders, and bishops at Great Millstone. I'm your brother, Rabbi Knapp, coming out with a lesson, Lord's will. This is edifying to the Lord's elect. I found this on nytimes.com. It says, why won't Europe help Trump in Iran? Let's count the reasons. So I'm going to see what it got. It says President Duck says his NATO allies are disloyal for not helping the U.S. to clear an oil blockade, but they have a long list of incentives to refuse. So we'll see what he's
Why won't Europe help Trump in Iran? Let's count the reasons. This article is by Jim Tankersley and read by an automated voice. Europe wants President Trump to end his war in Iran as fast as possible. Mr. Trump wants Europe's help relieving the only real pressure point that could force him to do that. That pressure point is effectively an oil blockade by Iran in the Strait of Hormuz. Mr. Trump has called on Europe to send ships and other military forces to help clear the channel. European officials have a long list of reasons, spoken and unspoken, for refusing. It looks something like this. 1. They never wanted this war and don't want a part of it. The United States and Israel launched their first strikes on Iran late last month without consulting allies in Europe or elsewhere. There was no effort to assemble any sort of coalition of the willing or to make an international case for war, as the Bush administration did 2 decades ago with Iraq. For the first few weeks of the war, all Mr. Trump seemed to want from Europe was the use of military bases to launch attacks. Germany agreed immediately. Britain did eventually, though not to the degree Mr. Trump wanted. Spain said no. But as Iran's attacks in the Strait of Hormuz sent oil prices soaring, Mr. Trump asked for more help from Europe. Without offering operational input or a timeline for ending hostilities, international legal cover, or anything else that Europe might want. The United States and Israel did not consult us before this war. There was never a joint decision regarding Iran, Friedrich Merz, the German chancellor, said on Monday. Therefore, the question of how Germany will contribute militarily does not arise. We will not. 2. It's not NATO's job. Mr. Trump has invoked the Transatlantic Security Alliance, which requires its members to aid America if it is attacked, and scolded NATO members in Europe for not answering his call. For 40 years, we're protecting you, and you don't want to get involved, Mr. Trump said on Monday. To which European officials reply, that's not how NATO works. The alliance does not traditionally involve itself in the Middle East or in preemptive strikes by its members on their enemies. Its so-called Article 5 obligations bind countries to defend one another in case of attack, and they have only been invoked once, after the September 11, 2001, terrorist strikes in the United States. Mr. Merz stressed on Monday that NATO was a defensive alliance. Mark Rutte, the alliance's Secretary General and an ally of Mr. Trump's, told the Reuters news agency shortly after the war began, clearly, NATO is not itself involved here. NATO allies are providing key enabling support. 3. They don't think it will work. Shipping in the Strait of Hormuz is so precarious because even a single-armed Iranian speedboat can take out an oil tanker. The U.S. Navy has not been able to defeat that threat on its own, and some European leaders said this week that they don't know how their navies would tip the scales. 4. And if it did, it could prolong the war. The Iran-induced surge in global oil prices is raising costs for drivers and other consumers across Europe and the United States. European leaders are desperate to bring them down. They know Mr. Trump is too. Privately, top European officials say the only things that ever really seem to induce Mr. Trump to change his mind on an issue are financial markets and American public opinion. A clogged Strait of Hormuz influences both. Mr. Trump does not want to enter midterm elections with gas prices high and American voters blaming his war for them. That calculation might be European leaders' best leverage to persuade Mr. Trump to wrap up the war before it sprawls into their nightmare scenario. An economically devastated, politically unstable Iran that sends millions of migrants fleeing the Middle East toward Europe. Laura Jakes contributed, reporting from Rome.
That's the nightmare scenario, huh? An economically devastated, politically unstable Iran that sends millions of migrants fleeing the Middle East towards Europe. Shit. Oh, man. So they're already having an immigration issue, and here it is, you creating more of a threat to them by committing all this shit. And this is why he did it without without you being involved in the talks, because anybody in their right mind would know this is a political suicide. Why would I involve myself in that? That's why. And then he wants you to react, to what he's doing. That's bullshit. That's bullshit, man. As a matter of fact, I was trying to go into Revelation 17 today. Then I was interrupted by some BW 3000. Revelation 17:1, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials, and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. So this great whore is talking about America. Someone today said on my comment board, this is talking about the Catholic Church. It's not. This is why you got to study. But then, anybody that says, a lot of people, it's always people that come on your channel, and what I've noticed is none of them got any work. They believe all this stuff, right? But they don't got any works. It tells you in the book of Revelation 19:10 that the Spirit, if you got the Spirit, man, you should be working. Revelation 19:10, and I fell at his feet to worship him. This is an angel, John the Revelator's, fell at his feet to worship. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant of thy brethren that have the testimony of Yahushai. Worship God, for the testimony of Yahushai is the spirit of prophecy. So if you understand the prophecies, you should be teaching it. You don't want to be considered a wicked servant. The Lord's sharing these revelations with you, and you're not saying anything about it. That's like John the Revelator. He tells John, write this in a book. And John just doesn't even do it. So now we don't know who the great whore is. And that's just like a wicked servant. Okay, Revelation 1 verse 2. I'll start at the top. Revelation 1:1. The revelation of Yahushua HaMashiach, which God gave unto him, to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he sent and signified it by his angel unto his servant John, who bear record of the word of God and of the testimony of Yahushua HaMashiach, and of all things that he saw. Blessed is he that readeth, and they that hear the words of this prophecy, and keep those things which are written therein, for the time is at hand. So this is for his servants, number one. So you ain't going to get it anyways, to show unto his servants. You don't serve our Lord. So you're not, and that's why when you check their channel, there ain't no works over there. But yet they'll put a bunch of comments on your comment board, and they're out of their damn minds. Then you got wicked women just... You women are through. You don't know, like, there's no teaching you anything. You're a damn fool. Keep going to the damn holler houses, and we'll see you when your ass gets put to death, and we'll see your ass in the kingdom. Well, other than that, ain't no one got to teach you shit. You pretty much condemned at this point. Revelation 17:1 again, and there came one of the seven angels which had seven vials. Let's look this up. Now, I know it ain't gonna break it down properly, but I'm just curious to see what it's gonna say. Maybe it can help. Since they ain't, come on, what did I just do? I think I copied something I wasn't supposed to. What the hell's going on? Just loading slow. Breakdown, and there came one of the seven angels which had the seven vials. These are the same angels from Revelation 16 who pour out the vials, plagues, the final judgments of the Lord. Okay, so that's what the seven vials are. There's seven different judgments. The angel is coming with authority and judgment, which is what's about to be shown is tied to destruction, not salvation. Come hither, I will show unto thee John is being shown a vision. This is spiritually imagery, not literal in every detail. Meaning the Most High is revealing deep prophecy. This requires spiritual discernment. The judgment of the great whore. The great whore represents a nation/kingdom system that is spiritually corrupt, idol worshiping, leading others into wickedness, and that's America. Okay, whoredom, spiritual fornication, meaning idolatry, false doctrines, alliances with other nations against righteousness, and that's what it is. You read Psalms, the 83rd chapter, all these nations are confederate against thee. Okay, and the nation of Edom is one of them, is a top nation against his brother Jacob. Because Job 9:24 says the earth has been given into the hand of the wicked, and Esau is the wicked. And what has he done with this power that he has? He turned this place pretty much wicked as hell. He's fully against the scriptures, and you could tell by their doctrines, what people believe in. You know, you look at the form of Christianity that they teach today, and it's wicked as hell. They got these big ass cathedrals on everybody's block, but yet there's homelessness all over the place. And when these people need somewhere to sleep, they won't open the doors to these people. They're asking you for money. You got to donate when these people need money so they can eat at the end of the day. But you got a full functioning cathedral that you can't help anybody with. This isn't talking about literal women. It's a powerful system that has corrupted the whole earth, and that's Babylon, the great America, that sitteth upon many waters. This gets interpreted later in the same chapter, Revelation 15, the waters are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues, and it's right. And I brought that out, which is a representation of how America has all different nations, different people speaking different. The tongues represents different languages. The nations represents different people from all over the world. And our multitudes, the waters are peoples in multitudes. So just an abundance of different people from different parts of the world speaking different languages. This whore has global influence. She sits over many nations, many peoples, different languages. And you can see that America's influence reaches far, even in Iran. He had protesters out there, fighting up against their government. He was egging them on because his influence is so far-reaching. He can go any country. You're gonna have some reprobates out there that don't know what the hell's going on, and they'll ignore all the evil that he does, and they'll ignore the bad and hope for all the good. That's how this place is. All the wickedness that it's doing, they don't really, even with the Epstein files, it's undeniable some fucked up shit's going on, but people are still all right with the system, that they want to keep the system going. So that goes to show you that the people are fully given over, and he rules over them because they continue to vote for him. They continue to participate in, these elections. They vote for these devils. So they want it to continue to grow. And that's why it can continue to put influences on other people. Okay, the whore, figurative one who practices idolatry and corruption. And the biggest form of idolatry is their form of Christianity, which is not consistent with the scriptures. You know, the Virgin Mary birth. Brothers broke that down multiple times. All right. The ghost didn't have sex with Mary. You know. What else? That the small hats, the real Israelites, they don't fit the curses in Deuteronomy the 28th chapter. 1948 doesn't equate with Isaiah the 2nd chapter. They shouldn't have learned war anymore. He should already have all the land and everything, and if the Lord restored him for all that, and they still commit adultery. You go to Tel Aviv, well, probably not anymore because it's, from what I'm hearing, the reports is destroyed. They got all types of gay parades and stuff out there in the Holy Land. That's not, you just turn Jerusalem into Sodom. So the Lord ain't with that. So now the Lord's cool with sodomy and all of that. You know, and you're supposed to be learning from them. Ain't nobody going over there doing oral circumcisions and shit like that. Ain't nobody said to do that shit. Malachi 3 and 6. For I am the Lord Yahweh, I change not, therefore ye sons of Jacob are not consumed. So if he doesn't change, that means his commandments doesn't change. Everything is still as he ordained in Exodus the 24th chapter. That you still got to keep the law, statutes, and commandments, or if not, you're going to be cursed. Okay, so, and then where's the rest of the tribes if you're the people? So the point I'm bringing is that the horrors of America, number one, the form of Christianity, these different influences that are being pushed on the people are coming from here. You know, you look at Catholicism, that's a worldwide religion, probably the biggest religion. Let's look up the major. What is the biggest religion? Catholicism. Christianity is the world's largest religion with an estimated 2.3 to 2.6 billion adherents worldwide as of 2020. It represents about 28.8% of the global population. So that then the Christianity they're talking about is the so-called white man's God. Okay, the small hat in Israel's the children of Israel. So that's what they that's their doctrine. When it literally tells you that what the Lord looks like in Revelation, the first chapter, but they'll ignore all of that and just bring out the same precepts. But it's not consistent with any of the people, like just like Moses' hand changing, and it tells you Jeremiah was black, Job was black, Yahweh Shai was black, the Most High is so-called black, or dark skin, I should say, because ain't no one black. All right, they're dark skinned. All right, and then when was the small hat disconnected from their heritage? But this is just so much. Buddhism, Hinduism, Islam. Okay, when this is a book about Israelites, he didn't make any covenant with these people. That's Esau trying to get his birthright back, but he ain't getting his birthright back. He going into slavery. Revelation 17:1, and there came one of the seven angels that had 7 vials and talked with me, saying unto me, Come hither, I will show unto thee the judgment of the great whore that sitteth upon many waters. So the great whore is America, and this is why it's going to get judged. The doom of Babylon. Revelation 17:2, with whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth have been made drunk with the wine of her fornication. That's going into different philosophies and different religions and policies that it's been distributed. All right. Slacky, give me 1 second. With whom the kings of the earth have committed fornication. Kings of the earth, rulers, governments, world leaders, fornication, unlawful alliances, plus spiritual corruption. Yeah, they all participate in doing this wickedness, man. Who knows what world leaders are going to the Bohemian Grove and doing all types of shit that these devils are doing over here, because their gods are wicked too. They Carchemish, the Moabites' gods are similar. Moab god Chemosh was the supreme deity of the Canaanite state of Moab, the patron god of its population, the Moabites. Some weird looking god, man. Who in consequence were called the people of Chemosh. The name of the significant Chemosh are historically attested in the Moabite language inscriptions. You know what? Scripture when the Moabite king hung his son for a sacrifice to get away from Israel. 2 Kings 3 verse 26. So these other nations, the reason I'm bringing this out, they serve the same type of God. 2 Kings 3, verse 26. And when the king of Moab saw that the battle was too sore for him, he took with him 700 men that drew swords to break through even unto the king of Edom, but they could not. Then he took his eldest son, that should have reigned in his stead, and offered him for a burnt offering upon the wall. And there was great indignation against Israel, and they departed from him and returned to their own land. So he sacrificed his heir. He burnt him. That's a sacrifice to what God was this? He just for whatever God he worshiped. 2 Kings 3, verse 27. Let's dive deeper a little bit. So the reason, let me see if I can find out what God that was. God, did he sacrifice his son to? Kamosh. So that's the same thing that they do with Baal. King Mesha of Moab sacrificed his son to Kamosh, the national god and supreme deity of the Moabite people. Kamosh was viewed as the protector and a war god who granted military victory when pleased and allowed defeat when angry. The sacrifice recorded was a desperate final attempt to appease Kamosh and turn the tide of the battle against the alliance of Israel, Judah, and Edom. So there you go. So these other nations, they do the same shit. All right. The Great Whore is influencing world leaders to join her system. That's why they also practice diplomacy. They have voting and all that shit. Follow her policies. Homosexualities in South Korea. He tried to implement it in Africa. Adopt her philosophies. You got Christian churches all over the world praying to the same God. Okay? These rulers are not following righteousness. They're in bed with this system, benefiting from it, economics, power, control. That's right. In order to participate in commerce here in Babylon, you gotta do something. You gotta do something strange, man. Because they know if they do it, they'll make a lot of money. So that's the influence that, they don't have the spirit of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua. The Lord ain't afflicted them like that. So that's why they come over here in droves. They do better than you. Like it tells you in Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter. Because they don't have the integrity of an Israelite. So they're the wicked, the heathen, they're more likely to be influenced by whatever power is in charge. And then look at Xi Jinping, he coming out wearing a suit. That's not Chinese garments. Why is he wearing that? Because he's influenced by America and the inhabitants of the earth, not just rulers, regular people too. Yeah, because Ecclesiasticus chapter 11. It's not just the rulers, but the same as the rulers are the people. So your rulers ain't operating under the law, statutes, and commandments. So that's why y'all are not. But it's gonna come a time where you are gonna be doing that and all that. Actually, it's Ecclesiasticus chapter 10. It says, "A wise judge will instruct his people, and the government of a prudent man is well ordered. As the judge of the people is himself, so are his officers, and what manner of man the ruler of the city is, such are all they that dwell therein." So look at the man who rules Babylon. He's childish. You people are childish. He lies all the time. You people lie all the time. He's full of shit. You're full of shit. Okay? He don't believe in the Lord. You don't believe in the Lord. It's just as simple as that. Now, if you had laws in place where they put you to death for being wicked, then you would be righteous. But he doesn't do that. He upholds wickedness. You kill somebody, he'll house you, feed you, and clothe you. If you're If you need help and you're not committing any wickedness, he'll give you syringes so you can kill yourself. You know, you're homeless. He'll shelter someone that's a murderer and committed crimes, but someone who actually needs help and he ain't committing any crime, there's no resources for you. And the resources that he does have for you, it ain't really helping. That's why people continue to be homeless, and it's not a sustainable system. This system doesn't just influence governments, it controls the minds of the masses. That's right. That's what government means. Mind control. Government in Latin. I gotta go to etymology. Government etymology, Greek. It originates Greek word kobarno, meaning to steer, pilot, or direct a ship. This maritime term was used metaphorically in classical antiquity, notably by Plato to describe the steering or guidance of a state, later evolving through Latin gouverner and French gouverneur into English terms. To steer, pilot a ship. Govern, because it's two word. Where did I find it? Let's go to etymology real quick. Etymology online. Not self-government, just regular government. Government, late 14C, Chaucer government, act of governing or ruling. Also system by which a thing is governed. Control, government, control, direction, administration. Okay, but what about mente? I think that's what I'm looking for. Mente in Latin. Yes, mente. So to govern means to control. Mente is the ablative singular form of the Latin noun mens, nominative, or mentis, genitive, which means mind, intellect, or thought. So govern means control, and mente means the mind. Okay, so they're controlling your mind. That's what they're here to do, but it's with wickedness, because it's not under the law, statutes, and commandments. So people might say, you're brainwashed. That's a good thing, because if you're cleaning yourself from the government program that he got you doing, which is to be a complete reprobate dumbass, then you could step out of it. But most people, they're not going to be able to get out of the programming because they're just gone. They got to be destroyed. They can never come to the conclusion of that wickedness and righteousness to them is backwards. Isaiah 5 verse 20. Woe unto them that call evil good and good evil. Woe means death and destruction. That put darkness for light and light for darkness, and that's what you do. That put bitter for sweet and sweet for bitter. So you're backwards. Have been made drunk, spiritually intoxicated, confused, which is Babylon, deceived, unable to see truth. And that's what's wrong with you people. You're drunk with the philosophies that Esau had taught you. So when you're faced with the truth of something, you can't really, this is why the whole world thinks our Lord's name is Jesus and he's white. They can never go back to the Hebrew. Someone asked me about, tell me what John's name is. It's like, all it is a Google search away, but you're too stupid to even do that, because you really don't care about, even if I told you his name, it wouldn't matter, because you're an idiot. You if you ain't looking it up for yourself, you're just trying to add confusion and so people can learn what's actually being said. And that's what reprobates are. That's why it's a perfect system to establish the MOTB because you guys are so primed and ready to be destroyed. You're just fully given over to being a beast. Okay. People are spiritually blinded, emotionally attached to lies, unable to recognize righteousness. So that's why you're going to be destroyed, number one. Number two, who's doing that to you? The things that are coming out of your mouth are pretty much showing you who's doing it to you. The things, oh, well, you know, Jesus this, Jesus that. And they all buck up. They ready to fight for something that doesn't even exist. So it's showing you that, they're fully blinded. And who do they hate? The person that's telling them the truth. That's how you know you're telling the truth, because the world's full of lies, and when you're telling the truth, people want to come up against it. They have to, because it disrupts their worldview, and that worldview was given to you by Esau with the wine of her fornication, wine, doctrine, philosophy, influence. So that's what y'all are. You see black women with blonde hair. So they're influenced by this wine that Esau gave them. Some of them, a lot of y'all want to bleach your skin because you're influenced by the influence of this place, man. And your doctrine ultimately goes into your spiritual garment. It's filthy. That's why you guys are full-blown homosexuals. Two, you got your kids, you raising them as girls. Your girls, you raising them as boys. All right, you're just fully corrupting what is the natural order of things. Whatever type of truth it is, you'll deny it in your mind. And the philosophies of this place, just like pretty much everything that you see on the news, that whatever the public agenda is that they want to push, most of these people, that's what they go for. They don't have any critical thinking skills. Even to the Lord literally got an app where you can go into the app and find out the word yourself. They won't even do that. They'll just repeat what the last person said. They don't look into anything, and they look at somebody and whatever they say, But ain't nothing wrong with that. We are sheep. Not everybody's gonna learn that way, but I'm just trying to show, with a multiple of examples that it's Babylon that's doing that, and who's creating these philosophies, who's doing that, to show you what John the Revelator is seeing. All right, he's seeing a system we seeing today, how we're in this state of people just fully given over to wickedness. The wine includes false religions, corrupt philosophies, immoral lifestyles, pride, materialism, rebellion against the Most High. And that's exactly what's going on here in America on the highest level, more so than any other country. We're the ones who got Hollywood. It sells more movies than any other, movie and all of that. They're the ones who's pushing out those movies. That's why y'all think the Lord, Passion of the Christ, everyone's white. Where's the so-called black man at? What else? All the different movies, different shows. He just always lying in this. So you think that's the way it was, and it's a full-blown lie. Okay, this system pushes a mindset that feels good, but is poisoned spiritually. That's right. That's exactly what it is. It spiritually poisons you because it lets your guard down to who the real enemy is, which is Esau against the Israelites. The heathen, they're your enemies too. Okay, their ways lead to death. There's only one way that leads to life, and it's following Yahweh B'Hashem Yahushua. Any other form of philosophy is all poison and death to you. And the whole world's like that just to keep you dead. As long as you're dead, hey, the heathen can prosper. That's why they want you to raise up weak men. That's why the black woman's like that. Raises up the weakest men. She got her day coming too, though, because she participated, and she's a damn Jezebel. Okay, so she's gonna get put to death a lot too. A lot of you black women are gonna get put to death because you're wicked. You're a full blown reprobate. You're the worst woman that's down here on the earth. You kill the most Israelites, through abortions and shit. You're the number one for abortions. And where do you get that from? You get that from Esau. You and Esau are like a match made in hell, and y'all are living your best life down here on the earth. That shit about to come to an end. That's why a lot of y'all, all you wicked black women, you're gonna get put to death. Your time is running out just as much as Esau is. And all you nations from the tribes, but starting with Eve first. She gotta go. Okay? The great whore has corrupted world leaders. They work with her system. Has deceived the masses. People believe her lies. Right. Pushes doctrines that make the whole earth spiritually drunk. You got a whole blown Christian church in your country, and you wonder why kids are missing. He's setting up schools so he can keep pushing that wickedness. You believe everything he says. He's doing all types of operations on your people because he's the damn devil. But you trust in his medical system. You trust that he's going to save you, and he's been putting you to death, and he hasn't changed. He still does these types of shit to y'all. He even does it to the other nations too. The whole world is under her influence, but they don't even realize it. That's right. But the elect do. We understand how powerful the influence of Babylon is because we were once underneath it and didn't understand what the hell was going on until the Lord gave us wisdom, and then they put everything together like, oh, snap. This nigga is really wicked. And then the Lord requires you to make your body a living sacrifice. So if men weren't even doing that, you wouldn't even be able to tie it all back to the Bible. If they weren't, the Lord didn't raise them up to actually go teach the word properly. Coming up against Christianity. You know how many Christians I've seen just get slaughtered with the scriptures, showing you they're drunk. They even the Israelites who be going off on the scriptures, pretty much anybody that has some form of a One West doctrine is smarter than everybody else in this whole world. Because the rest of you nations, you people are stupid as hell. Because you don't know Yahweh Ba'Hashem Yahushua. Revelation 17:3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sit upon a scarlet-colored beast, full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. So that's that bitch. The woman represents America. The scarlet-colored beast. The scarlet-colored beast is talking about NATO and the EU that the woman sits upon. Okay, full of names of blasphemy, having the 7 heads and 10 horns. Let's look that up. Oh, would I drop it? So he carried me away in the spirit. John is being taken into a visionary state. This is spiritual revelation. This isn't physical. This is a prophetic vision showing hidden truth. And that's how he used to talk to his prophets back then. Now he speaks to us through prophecy. Numbers 12, verse 6. And he said, hear now my words. If there be a prophet among you, I, the Lord, will make myself known unto him in a vision and will speak unto him in a dream. So that's what he was doing. He gave him a vision. The wilderness can symbolize a place where judgment is set and where this system is exposed for what it really is. And this is the wilderness. Just like when before, I can't say before, but when we were in the wilderness and after the exodus to Egypt, we were on our way to the promised land, but we weren't there yet. Just like right now, we on our way to the promised land, but we're not there yet. And the reason why this is a wilderness is because there's no water here. Okay, when it comes to the Lord, the understanding of the Lord it's a dry land spiritually. The only pools of water that you see are those who have this truth. They're the lights. These are the candlesticks that the Lord's using to shine light in this world. These are the pools of water where you can come and get a cup of water and refresh yourself and bring yourself back into remembrance. Other than that, most people are tumbleweeds. They're not trees planted by the rivers of water. They're not operating under the law, statutes, and commandments. They're withering away every single day to the point where the Lord puts their ass to death. The wilderness represents a place of desolation, isolation, judgment. The wilderness can symbolize a place where judgment is set and where this system is exposed for what it really is. And I saw a woman, same great whore from verse 1, a woman, a city or nation / kingdom is Babylon. This is not a literal woman, it's a powerful kingdom / system, right? But the woman is a metaphor for a kingdom. So it's like written in code. But you people actually probably think there's a woman coming out of the water, probably the Atlantic Ocean, and a beast gonna come out with 7 heads and like you, because you don't know the scriptures. You know, and most of the time, you very rarely hear a pastor. If you have a good pastor, they would be going in Revelation all the time. You should know about prophecy. Okay, he should be bringing you to. This is how you know your shepherds ain't leading you right. They're to help keep you asleep. The woman is riding the beast. She is supported by it, controlling / influencing it. And the beast is NATO in the EU. Scarlet red represents sin, bloodshed, power / royalty. Right, and that's Esau. You know, he's in that prominent power. He's on his high horse. He's the one who's in power. He's the one committing sin. He's the one who has the most bloodshed. He's the one who's in power. Okay, the beast is a political / military system, empire. And the woman sits on it, meaning she directs or benefits from its power, right? And America does benefit from EU and NATO alliances. But now you're starting to see, as we read on, that system's collapsing because of what's going on in Iran. You're looking at a ruling system backed by global political power, right? And who has global political power? Who's able to commit regime change in Venezuela? Who's saying, I'm going to go into Cuba and take it over? Who has the power to do that? Without asking anybody, I'm going to go to war with Iran and not even tell my allies shit. I'm not even going to tell the Middle East nothing either. I'm just going to do it because it's in the power in my hand. Who's going to tell me what the hell to do? So he's already exposing himself, and he don't give a fuck because it's the end. He's at the point where he about to establish the MOTB, and that's it. That's the end all say all. That's game over for everybody. If you don't take it, he puts you to death, and if you do take it, you're gonna die. So by default, I win. That's his plan. Full of names of blasphemy. Blasphemy equals speaking against the Most High, claiming divine authority falsely. Right. You know, he claims to be the nation of Israel, number 1. He thinks he's going to rule forever. That's number 2. You know, it's all blasphemy, which is a lie against the Lord. This system promotes false gods, speaks, I don't know what this says. I guess it's Arabic for against. That's stupid. Speaks Arabic against the truth. It's weird. Exalts itself as authority over righteousness, right? Like he got the breakdowns. Even his top scholars and preachers don't even know the word. They go into the Bible, the beast. They look how it's explaining it here. They're not even really saying. They're not telling you who the beast is. They're not saying anything about America. They didn't even mention Babylon. And this is Chat GPT. This is supposed to be AI. This is supposed to be the new way of things. They don't know shit. Okay, the spirit is supposed to guide you into all truth. This is just a demon having 7 heads and 10 horns. This is key prophecy symbolism. 7 heads, major ruling powers / kingdom structures. 10 horns, coalition of kings, alliances of rulers, right? And it's going into the 10 common markets. The European Union. The common markets are economic zones that allow free. No, the 10 common markets. Who are the? Who are the 10 common markets? Of course, I ain't gonna show it. Who are the original? Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, West Germany. Okay, the original common market, officially the European Economic Community, EEC, was founded in 1957 by 6 founding members, not 10, though the Treaty of Rome, these founding countries known as the Inner Six are. So it's not giving me the 10. Who else is it missing? Because they added more, but they originally he's saying there wasn't 10. But these they're missing. They're missing. Where's Spain? Where's Oh, I got the Netherlands. I can't think of the. There's a poster you can find. The whore that sitteth upon the beast poster. Why exit out like that? Like a. Where is it? Where is she? They don't got the poster up anymore, of course. It won't give me. But anyways, this EU in the let me see if I can grab it. It's EU Revelation 17. It's all these, I can't even find it. But it's talking about the EU. I can't name all the Spain. Its name is 6 of them, but it's missing Spain in this. It's missing it's saying West Germany, but I think it's Germain Minor and Germain Major. I don't have any notes on it. I don't got any notes. Oh. Nothing. Oh, hold on. The 7 heads represents NATO's 32 member countries, which are sovereign states that work together to discuss political and security matters. All decisions are made by consensus, so each member country's will is expressed in a NATO decision. The 10 horns, the European Union, which is the economic and political union of 27 countries, it operates an internal or single market which allows free movement of goods, capital, services, and people between member states, economic part of the beast. I didn't write down the countries though. I did, but I don't know where I wrote it at. But I can't remember all 10, but we'll keep going for time's sake. Anyways, what else? There's so much going on. Where do I want to go? I'm just going to jump down. Revelation 17 and verse 16. And the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And we're starting to see that, okay? We're starting to see that. With all this war that's going on, they don't want to help the duck. So that's another symbolic or a prophetic sign that we're seeing that is playing out in real time. All right, that beast and the whore, that the whore that's sitting on that beast is gonna flip and burn her. It says Pakistan denies hospital strike in Afghanistan as death toll hits 400. So here it is. There's a hospital in Afghanistan that blew up and 400 people got killed. Okay, that's a lot of people, man. All right, it tells you in 2nd Esdras, the 5th chapter, that these things are going to continue to happen. Nevertheless, as concerning the token, 2nd Esdras 5:1, behold, the day shall come that they which dwell upon earth shall be taken in a great number, and the way of truth shall be hidden, and the land shall be barren of faith. So you already don't have any faith. All right, you believe in something that's not true. Most people, not everybody. If you don't believe in Yahweh Bahashim Yahushua, you don't believe in the truth. And the way of truth shall be hidden. Okay, especially the Lord's name with the understanding of the Bible. That's hidden to a lot of people. It's ultimately for the elect. But the point of it is shall be taken in great number. 400 people getting put to death in one day is a great number of people. Okay. Matter of fact, will this play?
Pakistan denies hospital strike in Afghanistan as death toll hits 400 by Al Jazeera staff. Islamabad has denied the accusations of Afghanistan's Taliban government that Pakistani forces hit a hospital treating drug users in the Afghan capital, Kabul, saying that its strikes in the neighboring country have avoided civilian sites. We strongly refute and reject these allegations. Pakistani Minister of Information Atullah Tarar told Al Jazeera Arabic on Tuesday. Pakistan has only targeted terrorist infrastructure and military locations.
You know what? I won't even. With Esau being in power, you can't trust shit. You know, he's even saying I didn't even do that. You know, but this is what happens when the wicked are in power. He causing all type of mischief throughout all the earth. Tells you in the book of Ecclesiasticus, the 12th chapter. I was going into that today. Let me grab that Ecclesiasticus 12. In 17, it says, if adversity come upon thee, thou shalt find him there first. And though he pretend to help thee, yet shall he undermine thee. So he'll create a situation and then offer help. Yeah, I heard you got bombed, 400 people died. Let us come in there and build some hospitals and help you guys out. Okay, but it's all to fuck you over. He'll go out of his way to do it too. This final verdict highlights accountability as God will judge. This is not giving me. That's the wrong. All right. Let's see, he don't want no one to know about Ecclesiasticus. Okay. Where is it? Adversity, trouble, hardship, affliction Just like this hospital. This is talking about when you're at your lowest, going through hardship, vulnerable. Thou shalt find him there first. The enemy shows up quickly when you're down. You know, he'll offer some support. He's the one who caused the shit, or he might even, you don't know what the agenda is. Oh yeah, Pakistan did that so he can keep y'all fighting and he can go steal something that he wants out of your country. Okay, but here it is, Pakistan saying we didn't have anything to do with that. Just like Iran was being accused of hitting, I forgot the name of that country that's in the Mediterranean, a European island, you know, but they try to use that in order to strike up Article 5, which would have benefited the duck to get help in the Strait of Hormuz. So it's like, are you going out your way to pretty much bomb your own allies? But it was an Iranian drone. Or was it? You know, it's like Esau he got too many tricks up his sleeve. Your enemy is watching you, waiting for you to fall, quick to appear when you're weak. They're not there out of love. They're there because it's an opportunity, and that's what he tries to do. And though he pretend to help thee, they act like they're helping. They may offer advice, show concern, try to get close, but it's all a front. Yet shall he undermine thee. Undermine means secretly weaken, sabotage, bring down. Meaning while appearing to help, they are actually making your situation worse, setting traps, destroying you from within. This is a double agent spirit helping on the outside, destroying on the inside. And that's Esau. When you're going through hard times, your enemy will show up fast, act like they care, offer help, but really they're there to take advantage, to destroy you quietly, to push you further down, right? I remember when, I forgot what part of Africa it was. I think it was Somalia. Somalia had like a split or something, and Jerusalem was like, yeah, we want to recognize you as a country and help do this and do that. Main lesson, don't trust everyone who appears during your struggles. Test people by fruit and consistency. True help builds you. Fake help breaks you down. That's right. Gotta be able to see through that bullshit.
On Monday, Hamdullah Fitrat, the deputy spokesman for Afghanistan's Taliban government, said Pakistan's military struck Kabul's Omar Addiction Treatment Hospital at about 9 p.m. local time, 16:30 Greenwich Mean Time. The hospital is a 2,000-bed facility, and the raid destroyed large sections of the building, he wrote on X. Unfortunately, the death toll has so far reached 400, while around 250 others have been reported injured. Rescue teams are currently at the scene, working to control the fire and recover the remaining bodies of the victims, he added. In a series of posts on X, Afghan government spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid denounced the assault as a, quote, crime against humanity. He accused the Pakistani military of intentionally targeting civilian infrastructure to, quote, perpetrate horrors, later saying that those killed and injured in the strike were patients receiving treatment at the facility. The latest wave of violence between the two countries began late last month, with repeated cross-border clashes and Pakistan's airstrikes inside Afghanistan. Pakistan often accuses Afghanistan's Taliban government of providing safe haven to the Pakistan Taliban, also known as Tehrik-i-Taliban Pakistan, as well as to outlawed Baloch separatist groups and other groups who frequently target security forces and civilians across Pakistan. Kabul denies these claims. A United Nations Security Council resolution, adopted unanimously on Monday, did not name Pakistan, but condemned, in the strongest terms, all terrorist activity, including terrorist attacks from within Afghanistan. The resolution also extended the UN political mission in Afghanistan, UNAMA, for 3 months. On Sunday, the World Food Program, WFP, said it had begun mobilizing to provide immediate life-saving food to more than 20,000 families that have been displaced in Afghanistan due to the conflict. By Al Jazeera staff.
Well, we'll see what's going on with that. I wouldn't be surprised if Esau's got his hands involved in this. I know he likes to strike hospitals and things like this. Who was Joe Kent, and why did he resign as Duck's counterterrorism chief? And it's 12 minutes. I'm not listening to all.
Who is Joe Kent, and why did he resign as Trump's counterterrorism chief? Nation could have a dramatic impact on support for Trump in the war, but it would be a matter of the straw that broke the camel's back. How will Kent's departure be seen by voters? While Kent's resignation is unlikely to change U.S. military strategy, analysts say it could carry political consequences. Fewer than 8 months remain before the pivotal midterm elections. Backlash to Trump's policies could harm his fellow Republicans at the polls. Al Jazeera correspondent Mike Hanna.
I'm not listening to all this. He quit because he basically said that America's supporting Israel. How will Kent's departure be seen for voters? Yeah, let's read that. While Kent's resignation is unlikely to change U.S. military strategy, analysts say it could carry political consequences. Right. That's a huge thing, man. Especially the timing of it all. Right now, you want to quit? You didn't quit out of all the different things. He actually said that Israel started the Iranian war. I think, Kent's criticism of the U.S.-Israel war on Iran is very significant because he's not an average duck appointee, Barakat figurehead. He said it was the same as something about Iraq. I'm going to see if he mentions Iraq in this. Yes, who is Joe Kent? He is a former soldier with the U.S. Army Special Forces who completed 11 combat deployments, including tours during the U.S.-led war in Iraq. Kent pointed out that Duck had pledged to keep the U.S. out of never-ending wars like those that had unfolded in Iraq and Afghanistan. And he lied about that. This was a lie and is the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war that cost our nation the lives of thousands of our best men and women. We cannot make this mistake again. And that's exactly what he's going to have you do. So that's huge that he said that. Jeremiah chapter 49, verse 20, therefore hear the counsel of the Lord that he taken against Edom, and his purposes that he had purposed against the inhabitants of Teman. Surely the least of the flock shall draw them out. Surely he shall make their habitations desolate with them. So he's drawing them out. Just like, I didn't know, but him saying is Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war. So he's drawing you out again. Hey, that's prophecy, man, being played out. Jeremiah 49 and 20. So so their tongues are falling upon themselves, but you got to have the spirit to reveal these things to you. Let's see what else he said about Iraq. Early in the administration, high-ranking Israeli officials and influential members of the American media deployed a misinformation campaign that wholly undermined your America First platform and sowed pro-war sentiments to encourage a war with Iran. This echo chamber was used to deceive you into believing that Iran posed an imminent threat to the U.S. and that should you strike now, there was a clear path to a swift victory, and that's how they got deceived. This was a lie and is the same tactic the Israelis used to draw us into the disastrous Iraq war that cost our nation the lives of thousands of our best men and women. We cannot make this mistake again. So he's saying a lot. But you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if someone like that's a Jake, man. I wouldn't be surprised. That's a bold thing he did, man. That's a bold thing this man did. There's some real patriots out there for Babylon, but you're starting to see them. The ones who really about fighting for this country and standing up for what they believed in. That's an honorable thing. And this is like death. You doing this is like, I don't know if it would be considered treason or sedition. What is the difference between treason and sedition? Treason is a constitutional crime involving overt acts of war or aiding enemies against one's own country. So I don't think he's doing that. Punishable by death. Sedition involves inciting, conspiring, or advocating for rebellion. I think he's somewhat doing that. Violence or the overthrow of the government through speech or actions, generally falling short of full treasonous warfare. So it's short of falling. So he's not doing anything to really be considered treason, but his actions is definitely a form of sedition. You know, because that's a high official, man. So, you know, he's probably not the only one that shares that view. He got probably a lot of the people that went to that Iraq war probably have that same type of sentiment, because they actually saw with their own eyes the devastating effects of that war. And then they're seeing it come back again. That's like PTSD. You know, so if his spirit's being roused up like that, he's probably thinking, man, I'm not going back into some shit like that in the Middle East. No, fuck you. You stupid motherfuckers ain't never been to war. You ain't never seen what it was like. You weren't the boots on the ground. You people don't know shit. And if you want to repeat that a second time, you out of your fucking mind. But he didn't say all that, but that's probably what he's thinking. And that's why Isaiah 19 is going to happen. Isaiah 19:2, and I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, every one against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. So that's the time we're getting into. And these men are fully trained. They've been in Iraq. So they done put some kids to death too. You know, they ain't gonna tell you that. Shit, they might have even ate some niggas over there too. Who knows? They don't tell you about how crazy war is, man. They just come back and they don't say anything. Them motherfuckers be eating each other. They be taking shit, graping shit, stealing shit, doing all types of fucked up shit when they get there. Or they see some fucked up shit and don't say anything about it. You know, because that's a war. Imagine some random person coming to your house from a foreign country with all types of armor and guns, and you just sitting in your house trying to protect your family. And, you know, it's like spoils of war. They got the mindset, I could die. Some of these people put your ass to death. Mark chapter 3, and verse 23. And he called them unto him and said unto them in parables, how can Satan cast out Satan? And if a kingdom be divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. So you're starting to see a divide. Let me get this in the NLT. Mark 3:23 in the NLT. Yahushua called them over and responded with an illustration. How can Satan cast out Satan? He asked. A kingdom divided by civil war will collapse. That's right. And that's where we're headed into. Civil war. It's only right. Why the fuck would I go over there into a war? You didn't consult me. That's how the same sentiment as the rest of the world. Europe's not joining that shit. Ain't no one joining that shit. Does it look like a man who's fucking around? He ain't fucking around, man. I'm probably looking at them like, you're my fucking enemy. Get the fuck out of here. You gonna send my kids over there? I fought for them to be over here. You got fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. You ain't gonna fool me again. That's what George Bush said. Anyways, Iran confirms security chief Larijani Basij commander Soleimani killed. Let me hear this. Who are these people?
Iran's Basij commander Gholam Reza Soleimani killed, IRGC confirms, by Al Jazeera staff. The commander of Iran's internal Basij militia, Gholam Reza Soleimani, has been killed. The Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, confirmed hours after Israel claimed to have killed Soleimani, as well as top Iranian security official Ali Larijani. In a statement shared by Iran's semi-official Tasnim news agency, the IRGC said Soleimani was killed in an, quote, attack by the American Zionist enemy. Israel earlier said it had killed Soleimani, who led the IRGC's internal security militia, as well as Larijani, secretary of Iran's Supreme National Security Council. Iran has yet to publicly comment on the Israeli claim that Larijani has been killed. If confirmed, Larijani would be the highest-ranking Iranian official killed in U.S.-Israeli attacks on Iran since former Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei was assassinated.
Damn. He killing super high people in his regime. I don't know how they doing that shit, man. He knocking them off like they just transparent. He knows who's in power. He's sitting in the meeting with you. Esau's a trip. But I heard this dude here, man, he didn't give a fuck, man. He did not give a fuck. He was supposedly out taking pictures with people walking down the street. He didn't give a fuck. I guess he wanted to go. He was like, man, fuck it, kill me. I ain't gonna be hiding it up in no cave for the rest of my life, man. Just put me to death. And that's what happened. But two, they still killing their leaders. So it's like, it's more of an escalation, man. I don't know how you're gonna kill their leaders and then try to sit and talk with them about opening the strait to them. It doesn't add up. That's your foreign policy. I'm gonna kill your leaders and ask for you to talk with me and come up with a solution about the strait. He don't give a fuck about the strait. Clearly, that's not what's going on here. He's getting drawn out. Proverbs 21:1. Let me get in the NLT. It says, the king's heart is like a stream of water directed by the Lord. He guides it wherever he pleases. Yeah, the king's heart. He guides the king's heart wherever he pleases, and he's guiding him into the Middle East. So he's guiding him to fulfill prophecy.
Trump's next target, taking Cuba. This article is by Jack Nickus and read by an automated voice. I do believe I'll be having the honor of taking Cuba, President Trump told reporters in the Oval Office on Monday. Taking Cuba in some form, yeah, he added when a reporter asked for clarification. Taking Cuba. I mean, whether I free it, take it. I think I could do anything I want with it if you want to know the truth. Even by Mr. Trump's precedent-shattering standards for speaking his mind as the U.S. president, his comments were a stunning insight into his...
Yeah, I think I can just take it, if I want to. That's the mindset of the duck, That's showing you he got the power to do it.
Perceptions of his power and its lack of limits. There have been 13 U.S. presidents since Fidel Castro took power in Cuba, all with their own complicated and often contentious relationship with the communist-ruled island. But none has so publicly pondered seizing control of the nation, until now. And after Mr. Trump's military attacks in Venezuela and Iran this year, his comments may not simply be off-the-cuff musings. Instead, the remarks seem to suggest that Mr. Trump is pushing toward a third consecutive attempt to behead a foreign government, perhaps before the year finishes its first quarter. I am holding Cuba, he said on Sunday aboard Air Force One, adding, we will pretty soon make a deal or do whatever we have to do. But he also made the sequencing clear. We're going to do Iran before Cuba. In reality, the Trump administration is already engaging on both. Since January, the United States has established what amounts to an oil blockade on Cuba, threatening other countries if they provide oil to the island and even taking military action. Last month, a U.S. Coast Guard vessel intercepted a tanker full of crude oil from Colombia en route to Cuba. As a result, Cuba has not received any significant oil or fuel shipments since January 9th, creating a rapidly escalating crisis on the island. Gasoline sold on the black market has soared to about $35 a gallon, and the electricity is failing almost every day, including a nationwide blackout on Monday. Surgeries are being delayed, medicine is running out, and food insecurity is increasing. That has backed Cuba's leadership into a corner. President Miguel Díaz-Canel delivered a national address last week that acknowledged for the first time that Cuba was talking to the United States and would soon begin opening its economy. At the same time, the Trump administration was making clear to Cuba that Mr. Diaz-Canel must go. The Times reported on Monday. So far, the White House is not pushing for action against the Castro family, which remains in power behind the scenes. That is in line with the Trump administration's preference for regime compliance versus regime change, as seen in Venezuela. Russia has signaled it is prepared to back Cuba, its longtime ally, if necessary. A Kremlin spokesman said on Tuesday that Russian and Cuban officials were in close contact about the crisis. On Monday night, Cuba's economic czar, Oscar Perez Oliva Fraga, announced a series of changes to allow Cubans abroad to invest, bank, and do business in Cuba, a potentially major shift in policy that the Cuban diaspora has long been seeking. In one sign of the pressure that Cuba is under to make such changes, Mr. Perez Oliva Fraga made the announcement over the radio. He had been scheduled to speak on television, but the power grid, which runs largely on oil, was still out. By 7 a.m. local time on Tuesday, the Cuban government said nearly 70% of Havana, the capital, was still without power. The potential of an economic reopening of Cuba is not lost on Mr. Trump. A real estate mogul with a long interest in South Florida and the Caribbean, Mr. Trump has long coveted the island. In 1998, a company he controlled secretly hired consultants to visit Cuba to explore its potential, a trip that might have violated the U.S. embargo on Cuba, according to a 2016 investigation by Newsweek. In 2011 and 2012, Trump Organization executives visited Cuba scouting for a golf course, Bloomberg reported in 2016. While on the campaign trail in 2016, Mr. Trump repeatedly said he would like to do business there. Cuba would be a good opportunity for investment, he told a Miami news station that year. I think probably the time's not right. Now he is suggesting the timing might be near. They're talking to us. It's a failed nation. They have no money, they have no oil, they have no nothing, he said in the Oval Office on Monday. Then he had another thought. They have nice land. They have nice landscape, he said, adding, I think Cuba in its own way, tourism and everything else, it's a beautiful island, great weather. But then he revealed the geographical and meteorological limits to his knowledge. They're not in a hurricane zone, which is nice for a change, you know, he said. That, of course, is like saying it doesn't snow in Buffalo. Mr. Trump, however, already seemed to be thinking in the context of Cuba as American property. They won't be asking us for money for hurricanes every week.
Micah too. I'm surprised that the paper even is using the word coveting. Micah 2:1, it says, woe to them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. So he's devising an oil blockade, okay, to prevent them from eating, to create some type of chaos there. So I guess so we can come over there and take it over. But he didn't even need to do all of that, honestly. But I guess, I guess that's the best way to do it. If you're going to take something, you besiege it, you stop the flow of things going in and out of it till it just collapses upon itself. People start killing each other. That's probably what he's waiting for. It said that the electricity with people in hospitals and different surgeries, they're not getting their medications. They're not getting this food insecurity and all of that. So he's probably waiting to hear people dying over there. In the morning is like they practice it because it is in the power of their hand. It's in their power. They said they're talking to Russia, but Cuba's like what Taiwan is to China. So I don't know how that's gonna play out for Cuba, but that same thing's gonna happen over here. But the Lord, if his elect are over there, he gonna make sure they're good. Even through oil blockade, there's nothing you can do if the Lord's for you. Micah 2:2, and they covet fields, and they take them by violence, in houses, and take them away. So they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. So that's what he does. He'll go in there, he'll oppress you, and take what you got. He'll get the choice land in there. He'll move right in and push you into into the poorest parts of the land, and then live like a damn king in your land. That's what he does. All right. But I'm gonna end it here. Lord's will. This was edifying. Shalom.